Frost Death Knight is a fast-paced melee spec built around hitting hard and managing your resources efficiently. If you don't keep up with your cooldowns and procs, you lose out on a lot of damage. In this guide, we'll go over how Frost Death Knights work, the key abilities you need to master, and how to make the most out of your burst windows. Let's get started. Frost Death Knight's gameplay is built around three key mechanics. The first one is being resource management. Runes are used for your main abilities like Obliterate and Howling Blast. They regenerate over time, and runic power built up by spending runes and used for abilities like Frost Strike. It's important to note runic empowerment. This is a passive ability that lets you generate new runes. Each time you spend 10 runic power, you have a 20% chance to regenerate a rune. By managing these well, you ensure a constant flow of resources and avoid downtime. The second key mechanic is guaranteed Killing Machine procs. Killing Machine makes your next Obliterate always crit and deal frost damage instead of physical. In Obliteration builds, Frost Strike, Howling Blast, Glacial Advance, and Soul Reaper will guarantee a Killing Machine proc during Pillar of Frost. This means Obliterate will always hit like a truck in burst windows, the key to Frost Death Knight's insane burst damage. The third key mechanic is your cooldowns. They will define your playstyle. Pillar of Frost is your main strength buff that you use on cooldown for big bursts. Empower Rune Weapon gives you extra runes and runic power, ensuring you never run dry during bursts. The next two cooldowns will depend on which hero talent you chose. First Worm's Fury is a massive AoE nuke that gets supercharged with Riders of the Apocalypse, making it your biggest cooldown in that build. And Reaper's Mark, the Deathbringer talent, applies a debuff that explodes for damage and spreads when the target dies, turning it into a high-impact execute tool in that build. Now let's break down the abilities that make this work. First, we'll go over the main damage dealers. Obliterate. This is your core rune spender. If Killing Machine procs, this ability hits like a truck. It also cleaves up to 3 targets inside of Death and Decay due to the Cleaving Strike's talent. Next up is Frost Strike, your runic power spender, which is important for keeping your resources balanced. Howling Blast, your AoE and ranged attack, applying Frost Fever, a damage over time effect. And Glacial Advance, an alternative runic power spender that applies Razor Ice and is better in AoE fights. Next up you have Remorseless Winter. It deals AoE damage around you. Every Frost build takes Gathering Storm, a powerful talent that increases its damage based on rune usage. Abomination Limb grips every enemy around you towards you. It deals a little bit of damage, but you mostly take it for its utility. That's all you need to understand your kit. Let's get into how you play it. Now we'll go over the opener. Each hero talent has a different opener. In the Deathbringer build, you use Pillar Frost, Reaper's Mark, and Empower Rune Weapon. But in the Riders of the Apocalypse build, you use Pillar Frost, Empower Rune Weapon, and Frostworm's Fury. Let's go over it step by step. First, you start with Abomination Limb if you have it talented for an AoE grip and damage. Next, you cast Remorseless Winter for early AoE damage. If you have Chill Streak, you'll use it right here, assuming you're fighting more than 2 targets. And then you follow up the correct opener based on your hero talent, Deathbringer's build or Riders of the Apocalypse build. And then you proceed with your normal rotation, prioritizing Obliterate with Killing Machine procs. Let's go over the single target priority when using Obliteration. During Pillars of Frost, you're in a burst window where every Frost Strike, Howling Blast, and Glacial Advance procs Killing Machine. This is the priority list. First, you Obliterate if you have a Killing Machine proc. If you don't, the next priority is to use Soul Reaper if the target is under 35% health. Then, you use Howling Blast if the target does not have Frost Fever. Use Frost Strike if your target has 5 stack of Razor Ice or you have less than 2 runes. Then you use Frost Strike to avoid capping on runic power. And last, you use Howling Blast if you have Rhyme active. Next, I want to go over the 2 hero talents, Deathbringer and Riders of the Apocalypse, more in depth. At max level, you will always have hero talents, which change your rotation and cooldown priorities. In Deathbringer, you have the Reaper's Mark build. Reaper's Mark applies a stacking debuff that explodes for high damage. When it explodes, you gain a free Exterminate proc. Use it as soon as possible for maximum value. If the marked target dies before the explosion, it spreads to a new target. The key takeaway is you always spend Exterminate procs as soon as possible. Then you have the Riders of the Apocalypse, the Frostworm's Fury build. Spending runes can summon one of the 4 horsemen. Trollsbane's Chains of Ice gives you a damage buff. Pop this immediately when it appears. Frostworm's Fury is again your biggest cooldown in this build. Use it during Pillars of Frost for maximum damage. Key takeaway, use Trollsbane's Chains as soon as possible. Final tips for playing a Frost Death Knight. Always keep Pillars of Frost on cooldown. It's your biggest DPS increase. Obliterate with every Killing Machine proc. It's your hardest hitting ability. Balance runes and runic power. Don't cap on either one. Use your cooldowns together. Stacking Pillars of Frost with Empower Rune Weapon and Frostworm's Fury, for example, is key. And always watch for procs. Rhyme and Killing Machine dictate your rotation. Frost Death Knight is a fast-paced, heavy-hitting melee spec that rewards good resource management and burst execution. If you keep your cooldowns rolling and react quickly to procs, you'll be mastering this class in no time. I hope it was helpful. If you like these kind of guides, let me know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching and I'll see you next time.